Welcome back, you filthy exiles. So, I was mucking around on and Merry Christmas, I should say. Didn't coin that one into the video very well, but yeah, it was Christmas here in Australia yesterday. But I'm assuming that most of the people watching this right now, it's Christmas today. So have a good one today, and yeah. Anyway, so what have we got in front of us? So, I have my original character that I first started playing when the game first came out in beta, and I went, you know what? Let's trick this character out, make it basically godly at running maps and killing bosses and everything. So I went, all right, let's respec it into a Blade Blast Chieftain, which basically is you drop your blade fall, and then you hit your Blade Blast, and then it chains Blade Blast. Now, the DPS, there's a couple of things on this character that, because this is in standard mode, that you won't be able to do, but actually one thing. The only thing is this one Circle of Anguish ring with the Herald of Ash reduced mana reservation at 35%. It's normally 20 to 15 to 20%. After GGG nerfed the circle rings for mana reservation, and that just means that Herald of Ash will reserve more mana. But everything else is craftable, and in fact in the last day that's what I've done. So anyway, how do we get to this? What do we do? So well, first of all, DPS wise, without fucking around with the tree too much, as you can see, only like 5 things ticked here. Enemy is moving, burning and ignited and covered in ash, and Shaper and Guardian DPS. I don't know why that's on me, but I've just been mucking around. There we go. We get to 15.92 million DPS with 50 blades to Blade Blast on. Let's go 10 blades, 3.18 million DPS. Now, in this iteration, I haven't maxed out all the gems yet. Most of them are pretty low, but here they're just level 20s. And you'll notice there's no awakened gems either, so this has a high octane level of power that you can push into it just with one level 21 Blade Blast gem, which is what I'm using here. So anyway, DPS is huge. Life regen is pretty bloody huge. So if we take any fire damage, recently our regen goes into 1400 mode, and we just become a powerhouse of regeneration. And if I've blocked recently, then it goes up pretty astronomically in the DPS area as well. So anyway, you can pretty much see off the bat that this has got some bloody do it every time. That this has got some pretty good DPS. Now, we're not generating power charges, we don't have Onslaught, we're not even accounting for, do we have Flask active? Does nothing anyway. Anyway, nothing else is ticked. I'll throw this out. So, how do we get here? What do we do? Well, gearing wise, we can live without selling that right now. I know it's standard mode, but it is what it is. Probably do this. Go into D&D. Bloody mic is in the way. Alright, D&D mode. Cool. So, there are very expensive iterations of this build. And this isn't a formal build guide, but this is just to give you an idea, and this is a bit of a Christmas special because I wanted to do something different. So anyway, what did I do? Well, number one, Crown of the Inward Eye, just a really reliable bloody helm. And also Kingsguard, 6-link Kingsguards, which are always dirt cheap. You can probably get these for under 50 chaos, to be realistic at the moment. I can't see this being crazy. Big thing about Kingsguard is that you gain 100 life when you use endurance charges, and we're a chieftain and we generate endurance charges, and we're going to use them constantly, so you're always going to be generating health and endurance charges, and that's a big thing here. Obviously we've got Enduring Cry mapped in, and I'll explain why it's mapped in the walk button very shortly. So the other thing about this build that I should mention as well is we do use a glorious Vanity jewel, and you need to look for the one with Zibiqua, which is this, what it says here, you know, XIBI, and that will give you glorious Vanity that will allow you to get Divine Flesh. What Divine Flesh does is it means that 50% or so no damage will hit your energy shield. So my 672 energy shield is worthless. But all damage bypasses energy shield. 50% of your elemental damage taken is chaos damage, and it's plus 5% to maximum chaos resist. Now, last patch they nerfed the fuck out of this, but it's still really powerful, and they're never going to be able to nerf this enough to stop it from being powerful. So this then synergizes with the Born of Chaos nodes here. So this gives chaos resist and maximum chaos resist. So basically, what I've done is I've max capped my chaos resist to 83%, and I can get this up higher because I'll add another one of these to 86%. And then what will happen is, because I've got maximum resistances, my resistances are overcapped. 50% of any elemental damage that would normally hit against those 3 resistances will now hit against chaos resist. And because I have dumb amounts of chaos resist over the max cap, I take almost no damage from elemental damage. Physical damage, same situation. Now with a caveat on this is it does use glancing blows, which they again nerfed this last league as well, which means my block damage is doubled, and then my spell and attack block damage is doubled. Block chance is doubled, which then synergizes with Arcane Swiftness, which is on my amulet. Getting a little bit complicated here, but there's a few mechanics at play here. Now, and what Arcane Swiftness does is you get 5% spell damage per 5% block attack damage, and when you've got chance to attack block, you got 62% chance to block attack damage. Times that by you get 5% spell damage per each 5% block damage. that per 5% chance to block, that's a pretty good. So you divide that by 5, you're getting some decent spell damage on top of that. And then when you look at Blade Blast, it's a physical spell, AoE spell. So anyway, we've got a few things synergizing around here. You'll see it in the POB, but that's a basic explanation of how this build works and how you get it cracking, and why it's so tanky as well. Now, health pool wise, I don't have the biggest health pool on mine, but you can most certainly get a much bigger health pool if you need it to be. I'm just going to quickly make sure that the music is turned down, because the last time I recorded bloody music overlaid over the top. Alright, so then basically, what we're basically saying here is we're doing stupid amounts of we've got stupid amounts of damage reduction, or damage layering as they call it, and then on top of that we have a pretty solid amount of DPS at the end of the day, which basically results in this being pretty easy. Now, I haven't fully leveled all of these, as I said. In the POB, these will all be maxed out, but as you can see, you know, even where it's at right now, it's pretty crazy. So anyway, gearing wise, with knowing all of that, gearing wise, we have a Crown of the Inward Eye, a Kingsguard. We are using a Circle of Anguish. If you can get a Circle of Anguish with increased buff effect as well as increased fire damage, that's the best case scenario. If you can't get that and you can get Herald of Ash Mana Reservation, it just means you can chuck Herald of Ice or whatever, because we are using Avatar of Fire, and that means that 50% of any other Heralds that you stack on here, theoretically you could stack Heralds on this and have 3 different Heralds on this build, and then run the cluster jewel for buffing Heralds, which is going to be sitting in here, and that's going to give you more DPS based on each Herald. It may even be more preferable than what I'm doing now. I don't know. I could try it. Probably not going to do that because I'm pretty happy with how it's working now. So, ring-wise, we're stacking Chaos Resistance on my ring. To get that, you can actually shard craft a lot of the Chaos Resistance onto your gear. And the shards that you'll be after, as you can see, this is not organized. The shards that you'll be after will be these... yeah, so this won't work for rings, but you should be able to slam this with Alteration Orbs until you get what you need, basically. The next thing is shield. You're going to be running a shield. You're going to be... now, I'm running a shaped shield to get 10% reduction in mana, and you can just get that through alterations. I happen to have life, all resist, and cold and chaos resist as well to cap my resistances out. Boots, same thing. I somehow managed to, luckily, using these Essence of Envies, and also essences of, Screaming Essences of Envies, Shrieking Essences of Envies. Basically, they give you chaos resistance based on crafting on armor or belts. It's the easiest way to max out your chaos resistance. So if you can get those, you can basically just shard craft and just scour and then shard, scour and then shard, and then you'll be able to get your boots. And luckily, I managed to get a 35% increased movement speed roll. I didn't even know that that was possible, but that's how much I know about the game, clearly. So yeah, I managed to get a good armor roll, I managed to get good movement speed, and I managed to get 27% chaos resist. Don't need fire resist because I'm a chieftain and basically just a fire god. But it's there anyway, and obviously maximum health. And also 18% reduced attribute requirements, which isn't anything, but hey, it's not bad either way. Belt, same thing. I shard crafted my, was it Shrieking Essence? Essence of Envy, crafted my belt and managed to get life, armor, maximum mana, cold resist, chaos resist, and then doubled down on the chaos resist to get 15 plus, that's 44% chaos resist on my belt, which basically makes up a huge portion of my chaos resist. Gloves, I can definitely get better gloves. These are Warlord crafted. If you can get culling on your gloves, do it. It doesn't necessarily roll very easily, especially, you need an item level 86 to get that best roll. We can talk about crafting at a later point in time, but anyway, I crafted these yesterday, and they've got good fire resist. So we've got what, T2 fire resist, T3 fire resist, T2 lightning resist, and a rank 4 health roll. Now you can get way better than this, but I just did this because this is a pretty good item and it buffs me up enough. Scepter. So Scepter, how I did this, again, I just shard craft. It's just easy shard crafting. So basically, I ran essences, So I ran Deafening Essences of Woe, or Essences of Woe. You can do this pretty easily to get the spell damage roll on mine. I happen to get some fire damage, and I got 43 to mana. Now, what I did further to this is I then I then added two more rolls onto this, and that's actually a suffix roll on the bench. Yeah, so can have 3 more crafted modifiers. That gave me the ability to put 1 more suffix and 1 more prefix. Am I talking shit? Yes, 1 more prefix, 1 more suffix. So I went trigger a socketed spell when you use a skill, and then rolled the prefix for fire damage to spells. So pretty easy to craft. Just use Essences of Woe, and you can get a dope ass scepter as well. You're just going for spell damage, fire damage, and fire damage on spells, and it already comes default with 30% increased elemental damage. Probably could have used a better base, but this is item level 86 base. You're going to get good rolls either way you shoot it. So anyway, that's basically how my gearing. For my amulet, I am using an Atziri's Foible. Now, I'd rather use a replica Atziri's Foible, but that's only in Heist League. It's not in the Standard League. But the reason why we need to use that is the items and gems have 25% attribute requirements reduced, because you got to remember that this character is almost impossible to get dexterity on, because so the minimum dexterity you need is 159, and I've only got 134, and that's why my POB's probably got, oh no, it doesn't say that, but theoretically it would say that I don't have enough dex. Well, that's how you get around it. You use that series Foible, and you can do that on quite a lot of builds. So anyway, that's the basic gearing. Flasking, just Quicksilver. Cinderswallow, just a really good flask for fire builds. The Wise Oak's going to give you more elemental damage. I was using Atziri's Promise, and it's still quite a good item because of the extra elemental damage converted into chaos damage and chaos leech. and then just a good flask. That's going to give you instant recovery. Mine doesn't, but if you can get it, even better. For jewels, now my jewels are set out, so I'm using obviously Glorious Vanity to get Divine Flesh. I am using Thread of Hope, and the reason why is I want these 3 nodes here. I'm also going to pick up Arcane Capacitor and Sanctum of Thought. Now this character's only level 92 because I got frustrated a number of times trying to level it up with a lot of different shitty builds on it, in trying and learning how to play different mechanics. This is probably the best mechanic I've ever had on this build. It used to be a Chieftain War Totem build before we had stuff that made that an absolutely godly build. So then going up further, we're going to also get a Careful Planning jewel and convert our intelligence here into dexterity. That's going to give us 134 dex. Now everything else you'll see in the POB, I'm not going to go into too much detail because this video is already getting long and I want to do a demo of what this looks like. But anyway, this is the basic build concept. There's no other jewels that I'm using. Obviously, you can see I've used this for a number of other builds. And yeah, that's pretty much as complex as it gets. Ascendancy wise, you're going to grab Valaco, that's going to give you more endurance charges. You're going to grab Cleansing Water, that's going to give you more life recovery, 100% resist, more life regeneration. Then you want to go Nagamu's Flame Advance, and then Hinakora's Death Fury, that's going to give you Ash covering enemies. And that's going to increase your damage even further, and bearing in mind that we're also running Avatar of Fire on this build as well, because fuck everything, we're running fire. So we'll crank up the sound, and there we go, that's what we want. And we'll run a map. Yeah, sure.
I cannot do this yet.
So we'll just run a T14 map, something nice and easy. Well, not nice and easy. Something pretty standard. We could probably run vulnerability and not die. Alright, so as you can see, I've got my Enduring Cry mapped into my main movement, so I keep popping endurance charges.
Pleased with yourself. Feel all high and mighty.
And as you can see, it just clears screens. Just sort of effortlessly rolls through the maps. Took a little bit of damage there. My health pool's not as high as it should be. But it's oddly satisfying too. I do like the popping sound. And you know, you can take fireballs to the face, you can pretty much do anything that you want. And we generate frenzy charges from the spells that we've got socketed, so Cold Snap. That will generate frenzy charges as we cast, because we've got trigger socketed spells crafted onto our scepter as well. So you pretty much just obliterate everything. And then we've also got Wave of Conviction as well, so we can put exposure to fire damage on all of our enemies as well. There's no kiting or anything like that. You just sort of just run into enemies, kill everything, everything dies. Ooh, delirious orbs. Hell yeah. Take all of those. So it went the wrong way. And that was with a Delirium encounter, and that was basically nothing. Now this is only a T14 map, and you would consider this as a pretty weak map in the scale of endgame goes, but hey, it's pretty much breezing through it. Alright, so we're at the boss.
Do this yet.
So as you can see, just basically just demolishes bosses. If you guys want a formal build guide, post up in the comments. I'll do a formal build guide on this one. And I'll take off the anger roll on it too. And there we go. That's pretty much it. So yeah, that's my Blade Blast Chieftain. And the POB will be in the description. I'll put up some other commentary in the description as well. Just the basic items that you'll need. But yeah, there's no headhunters. There is a Watcher's Eye on this build, but you don't need it. So there is a Watcher's Eye down here. This is going to gives me more fire damage for using anger, and it gives me increased vitality. And this is a legacy roll as well. So I'm pretty sure though you can just get increased recovery rate on vitality, and that's going to do the same thing. But yeah, that's pretty much the build. You can do whatever you want with the gearing options. You can craft chaos resist on your gloves, increase spell damage on your gloves because Warlord allows you to do that. Same with the Valentia rolls as well. Yeah, there's no helm enchant that I've got on this yet, but you know, you can get that. You're just going to use Blade Blast area of effect. But anyway, if this build's cool, like and sub. I'll probably theory craft a variant of this using the Assassin or something like that for the next league, or the Witch, the Elementalist. Maybe even the Occultist, that could work too. But anyway, yeah, if you like this build, if this is something cool, check the POB in the description. It'll be up there. And until next time, like and sub, and bye.